Hey, how's it going? Okay, in this one we're going to be looking at a new effect on Lightroom Classic called Lens Blur. Essentially, this will allow us to change the focal range of a photo so that we can change things that are in focus and out of focus. So if you have items in the foreground that you wish were more focused, you can manipulate that to do that. But there's no better way to check these things than just jump straight in and have a look. So let's get stuck straight in. Okay, so Lightroom Classic, and we've got just a random photo thrown in here, and we can see this has got a good bit of depth going on. We've got some stuff here in the foreground, midground, and over here in the background too as well. So we're going to try out this new feature called Lens Blur. It's still early access. Open it up and click apply. It'll take a couple of seconds just to analyze the estimated depth of the image and break it down into certain areas that it will be able to manipulate once it's analyzed through. Okay, so we can see here now we've been given a couple of options. So we've got blur amount, where we can increase this and change the blur. If we bring it all the way down, we've got no blur, so maybe leave it around 50 just for now. We've got bokeh option in here where we can add and increase the bokeh in the picture. And then down here we've got our focal range slider. So we've got these handles on the side, and I'm going to pull these down because it'll give a better illustration of what we're working with. And here we can see this is over to the left, and it's only bringing in the foreground. So if we then drag this over to the left, we can see that that focus area starts to move backwards throughout the picture the whole way until we get to the very right. We can see now the background is now in focus and the foreground is completely out of focus. So that's pretty cool. I mean, it does a pretty good job whenever you're working with people and maybe defined objects. It can be a tiny bit patchy in and around where maybe the mask of the subject isn't quite being captured as accurately as it could be. But like I said, early days, early access, plenty of time for those sort of things to get ironed out. But for landscapey kind of shots and other things, and even some wildlife shots that I've tried, some bird photography and things have worked quite well with this. We click on the visualize depth. This actually puts this map that we've got on our focal range slider into the photo. And then as we slide across, we get this white line. This white area is the area that will be in focus. So if we bring this to, we can then use this to kind of drag it out, turn off the visualize depth, and we can see we've got a bit of blur here. We've got some focus going down the train tracks and on these trees in the power box. And then we've got the background is all blurred out. But there's also a further thing we can go in and do, and that is refine. And then we can go in here to the focus area. We can actually go in and paint areas of focus in. So let's move this all the way up here so that everything should be blurred out. But then we can still come up here to the back and paint in areas that we want. We can control the size of our brush that we're using up here with this. So just for fun, let's make the hill and the side of the mountain in focus while the rest is out of focus. And then in here, we've got a blur option. So we can then go back in, say we've done something too much, and we can blur it out. And we can play about with this slider as well here to change the blur level. We can actually blur out anything that we want with this, even the parts that are supposed to be in focus. So yeah, that's one of the new features in Lightroom, this lens blur effect. Very, very cool. You could actually just go ahead and blur out the entire photo if you really wanted to, just for fun. And then paint what you want back in afterwards. So there we go. Whole thing blurred out by using the brush. We'll go into focus. I'll bring my brush size down a little bit. And just for fun, I'm going to paint in this line at the top of the trees and the mountain. Yeah, there's a lot of fun to be had with this wee tool. It's early days still. It's still going to keep getting worked on. So definitely something to go in and start playing about with now. But anyway, hope that was useful, and I'll catch you in the next one.